boost American exports, support American jobs, and level the playing field in the growing markets of Asia, we intend to complete negotiations on a Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Congress is determining whether to give President Obama the power to fast-track the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is a sweeping international regulatory agreement the White House describes as, and I quote, rules for the world's economy, and the U.S. TPP regulates everything from the environment and energy to minimum wages, food, and most notably, and obviously my beat, immigration. Now, if approved, the TPP would have the force of a treaty. It's claimed that its regulations would override and supersede United States law. With Fast Track Trade Promotion Authority, TPA, only a simple majority in both houses of Congress, not a two-thirds supermajority in the Senate, would be needed for approval. Congress could not change any of the rules in it, and the White House would not be obligated to follow any directives Congress offers on what those rules should look like. Now, keep this in mind. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, and this is according to my sources, includes an entire chapter on immigration. So this is essentially the Trojan horse for Obama's immigration agenda, really his illegal immigration agenda. Now, The Hill states that House members who are ready to defund the Department of Homeland Security to stop President Obama's executive action on immigration must not give him TPA, which he will use to ensure his immigration actions are locked in when he leaves office. The U.S. Trade Representative says nothing is as permanent as a temporary government program. Now, this isn't the first time the Obama administration has used these trade agreements to rewrite immigration law. According to The Hill, its U.S.-South Korea deal expanded the L-1 visa program, which corporations use to bring foreign workers into the United States. Now, DHS Office of Inspector General blasted the L-1 program for its fraud. Now, the crackdown met with pushback from the corporate community, and the Obama administration listened to the corporations. Now, back in March, Obama announced,
My administration is going to reform the L-1B visa category, which allows corporations to temporarily move workers from a foreign office to a U.S. office in a faster, simpler way. And this could benefit hundreds of thousands of non-immigrant workers and their employers. That, in turn, will benefit our entire economy and spur additional investment.
Those hundreds of thousands of non-immigrant workers aren't Americans. They are foreign workers not counted as immigrants. So these guest worker visas are going to top the wish list of the corporate interest pushing so-called immigration reform. And of course, that would be primarily such entities as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which heavily funds the Republican establishment members of Congress and the U.S. Senate. They're also pushing the Trans-Pacific Partnership. One corporate trade association says bluntly that the TPP should remove restrictions on nationality or residency requirements for the selection of personnel. Boy, that sounds like a loophole for illegal immigration. Now, American Jobs Alliance have this posted on their website. To sell the constitutionally suspect power grab known as Trade Promotion Authority to an increasingly skeptical Congress, Obama shills are saying Congress should provide this president with the same authority in terms of trade promotion that every president's had since FDR. Like so much else that comes from this administration, it's a lie. Here's the truth. Nancy Pelosi refused to give George W. Bush fast-track trade promotion authority. The Republican House refused fast-track power for Bill Clinton in '98. And Ronald Reagan did not have fast-track trade promotion authority when he concluded the most ambitious trade negotiations since the 1940s. This is significant because Obama's people are telling us that complex trade agreements can't be done without fast-track, without shutting out Congress. Now, the question they ask is, how did President Reagan do it without fast-track promotion authority? Well, a man who they claim was in their release was at the negotiating table will tell you. Charlie Bloom was the assistant U.S. trade rep for multilateral negotiations in the Reagan administration from 85 to 88. And it states as follows: without a formal congressional grant of authority, the Reagan administration worked intensively to build a consensus with both houses, with both Congress and the private sector. These efforts included regular consultations with Ways and Means Finance Committee staff after each negotiating session in Geneva. Reagan achieved an agreement through open discussion with Congress, the representatives of the sovereign people of the USA. This stands in stark contrast to the hyper-secrecy cloaking the Obama's Trans-Pacific Partnership talks. Now, given what we've seen from the administration, especially with the recent issues where you have the reestablishment with Cuba, opening that Pandora's box, if you will. And then, of course, the discussions and agreements with Iran over nuclear technology. Everything over the entire course of Obama's presidency has been filled with lies and falsehoods. It's only when whistleblowers have come out or other factors that we find out, whether it's through the firing of generals and admirals, it's pretty clear that we can't trust them to do anything.